Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to talk about the advantages of buying your lumber directly from the sawmill and maybe a few tips and tricks on how to pull that off successfully. So if you guys are new to the channel, my name's Corey Hill. My business is Hill Custom Lumber. I specialize in retail hardwood lumber and custom millwork, and we're in Eastern Pennsylvania. A lot of people might be saying, well, yeah, it's a no-brainer. You know, if you're a seasoned woodworker, sure, you buy your lumber right from the sawmill, you save a ton of money. But you would be surprised over the years how many people I've talked to that are beginning woodworkers who start off by buying their lumber from a big box store or their woodworking supply store, and they stumble upon me and they say, oh my God, I can't believe, you know, something like this exists, that it's available to me, you know, and it changes the way they look at the material. So if you're a beginning woodworker, you know, there's nothing wrong with going to a box store. I realize it's convenient, you're dipping your toes into it, you know, you're trying to figure out what you like, what works for you. But as you get some experience, I would highly suggest you start looking around for different sources of lumber. The main reason being, I think you're going to find going directly to the sawmill or retail lumber yard, you're going to save a lot of money. When you think about the whole process from start to finish, in my operation here, I saw the logs, I kiln dry the lumber, and I sell it to you. That's basically all that's involved. When you start looking at the big box stores and the specialty wood stores, typically what's going on, a big commercial mill saws the wood, they sell it to a kiln dryer who dries the wood, they sell it to some concentration yard, the box store buys it up, you've got all the overhead and infrastructure and shipping involved in the box store process. Every step of the way you're tacking on expenses. So you typically pay a lot more and you don't have the wide variety. It's pretty much what's on the shelf, that's what you get. So how do you find a mill to buy lumber from? Well, the easiest way probably is how we do everything these days. Get online, start looking around. A lot of mills don't have a lot of social media presence. They don't have a lot of online presence. So you might have to get on Facebook, talk to your neighbors, talk to other woodworkers, kind of try to hunt them out. If you're in Eastern PA, you're in luck. You just found one. Hill Custom Lumber. I'm in Lehighton, Pennsylvania. I'd be happy to work with you. If you're not, you're going to have to find one. Typically, you're going to run into two different types of sawmills. You're going to find the big commercial mill. They're set up to do volume. They probably aren't really going to want to entertain a woodworker. They want to sell by the truckload. A lot of times they don't kiln dry. So that's probably not going to be your best option. The second type of mill you're going to find is probably going to be typically a smaller family type run operation. May or may not kiln dry, but they'll be willing to work with you either by selling you a small lot of wood or actually letting you come in and pick out the lumber you want. So that's going to be the type of operation you're going to want to find. Now I mentioned kiln drying. That's beyond the scope of this video. There's lots of information. I have information out about kiln drying, but if you're doing interior woodworking projects, you want kiln dried lumber. You don't always absolutely need kiln dried lumber if you're doing like exterior projects, but by and large, search out kiln dried lumber. Now, if you happen to find a mill that's willing to work with you and has good quality lumber, but they don't kiln dry, that's not always a deal breaker. I know I myself here offer custom drying. I'm sure you might be able to find somebody in your area that will custom dry the lumber for you and make it usable for interior projects. So you might have to kind of put in some legwork. Hopefully you can find a supplier that is good to work with, that you can create a relationship with. So I'm going to speak to my operation here and the way I do things. A lot of businesses might operate differently. You're going to find a lot of similar practices in the business. So Typically the way it works, a lot of people, if you're used to going to Lowe's, walking in, finding what you want on the shelf, there's a SKU number on it, you take it to the register, scan it, on your way. A lot of first timers come here and ask me, well, how much is a board? Well, we don't have everything behind me skewed. The way it works is we go by a board foot tally. There again, if you're not familiar with the term board foot, you can look that up. A lot of information on online about board footage, but basically it's a measure of volume. We typically sell our hardwoods random width, random lengths. So the way I operate, you come here, we'll pull out a stack of whatever you're looking for, and you can pick out what you want, what works for you, what sizes work for your project. We'll throw it on your vehicle, we'll scale it up, we'll say, okay, there's 20 board feet there, there's 100 board feet there, and that's what we charge on. So there's no price per board technically. You know, we're not selling all 1x8x8s like you might be accustomed to. But the nice thing about that, the way I operate, you can get what works for you. I typically try to have a wide selection of different sizes, and you know, I let you pick out what's going to fit your project, which really lets you have a lot of flexibility. Not to mention we have a lot more species typically than what you'll find at other places. So that alone gives you a lot of flexibility. So basically the way the process would work, if you're interested in buying lumber, reach out to your mill and talk to them. Just open a conversation. Hey, I'm looking for poplar, I'm looking for oak, I'm looking for pine, cherry, whatever it may be. I'm looking for 2-inch thick stock. Typically, I like to know what people are coming for before they get here, so I can serve them the best, so I can have it out that they can see it. You know, if I don't have something, that I'm not wasting their time. So I typically like to work that way, you know, where we have a dialogue up front of what you're expecting, so I can provide it for you. What you see behind me, all these horizontal racks, that's all filled with stuff, kiln dried, ready to go. I have another building where the lumber's stored vertically. Same concept, you know, you just kind of pick through it, pick out what you want. So depending on what you're looking for and where I have the stuff is where we're going to go to look for it. So it streamlines everything. It saves you time, saves me time if we have an open dialogue up front. General practice, it's always nice when you're sorting through these stacks of lumber, kind of tidy them up at the end. You know, a lot of people know that. It's same common courtesy, you know, at the box stores. You know, if you pick through a stack, put it back kind of the way you found it. It's nice for the next guy and everybody else. So yeah, it's very simple process, you know. And the other thing, you want to find a supplier that's willing to work with you and talk to you about wood. I'm a woodworker myself. I've built a lot of furniture over the years. I have a lot of experience. If you're a beginning woodworker, you know, I'm here to help. I don't want to put pressure on anybody. You know, that's what you want in a supplier. You don't want somebody that, you know, makes you feel like, oh, you know, I'm wasting their time, or they don't have time for me, or, you know, I always take time to talk to the customers. It's my favorite part of the job, honestly. I never get tired of talking about wood and listening to what customers are building and what kind of neat projects they have. So that's all part of it. You know, I enjoy developing those relationships. The majority of my customers are repeat customers just because we've built relationships over the years, and that's the way I like to do business, the old-fashioned way. So don't be afraid to, you know, just reach out and discuss your project and see if I have any insight, advice on how you can do things. You know, I'm not going to try to push you one way or the other, but, you know, I might be able to give you a tip here or there. So the next thing to talk about, if you're used to going to a box store and buying wood, you're probably used to seeing something like this. And that is a piece of poplar that's planed on 4 sides. Very nice piece of wood. That's typically your option at the box store. In here, everything behind me looks like this. See the difference? That's a rough sawn piece of pine there. No planing done. That's just how it came off of the sawmill and went through the kiln, and that's what it looks like. So typically I will sell my lumber rough sawn. You know, whatever thickness is, you know, appropriate, if it's 1 inch thick or 2 inch thick or whatever you're looking for. I also offer custom planing. I can plane it on two sides. I can straight line rip it to put a straight edge on it. We have a whole mill workshop, so I can even do tongue and groove paneling, molding, you name it. So I have all those tools at my disposal. I store everything rough sawn to give the most flexibility. A lot of my customers have a joiner, have a planer, have the ability to do it themselves. So I save them money by not putting that labor into it. If you can take the lumber rough sawn, or some people call it in the rough, you're going to save yourself a couple bucks. If you don't, if you need some help getting stuff ready, I can do that for you. Typically we'll do that one of two ways. You can just call in an order, say, hey, I need 100 feet of poplar planed on 4 sides, planed on 2 sides, whatever the case may be. If you don't know what you need, we'll talk out your options and I'll let you know what's available. We'll price it different ways for you. I can even get so granular as to cut to specific sizes. I've had customers say, I want to build this project, here's my cut list, here's every piece I need. And I will literally rip, plane, cut to length, send it out the door that all they have to do is assemble. So we can do any step in between. So obviously if you take it in the rough, that's where you're going to save the most money. And every step, obviously, we kind of charge for labor, but those are all options for you, so you have a lot of flexibility there to get the product you need. So, you know, it's going to look a little bit different up front here. If you're not used to looking at rough sawn lumber, you got to kind of picture what that board's going to look like when it's planed up. So another thing we'll talk about, I try to keep all our local hardwoods in stock. I'm in Eastern Pennsylvania. We have a very good selection of hardwoods, so I try to keep oak, maple, cherry, walnut, hickory, poplar, pine, all the local stuff in stock. I don't always have everything, but tend to keep more of a selection than you'd find, you know, at a big box store. Another point I'll bring up, if you're going to deal with a local sawmill, I know it's the case in my operation. I know a lot of fellow sawyers are the same way. We're busy people. We got a lot of moving parts in an operation. When you're running equipment, it's not good for talking on the phone. We can sometimes be difficult to reach. The best way to reach me, if you call and leave a message, I will get back to you as soon as I can. The best way is online in my case, email, Facebook, even a YouTube comment. We'll get the ball rolling. It's also nicer, I know, a lot of times for me to have something in text because I talk to a lot of different people. We got a lot of things going on. If I talk to you on the phone, I hate to say it, I might forget. If it's in text, I can look back to it and say, oh, they needed that. That's what we're working on. That's when they're coming. Schedule it, so be it. I typically work by appointment here. A lot of mills work by appointment just because I don't necessarily have secretary or staff to come in and, you know, assist you all the time. I'm the guy running the saw, I'm the guy loading the kilns, I'm the guy talking to you to sell lumber. So you're getting direct information from the horse's mouth, but I can only do so much. So I know it's the case in a lot of other operations. I know that you know, you have to have a little bit of patience. Talk to me, we'll schedule something, and when you show up, you have my undivided attention. I know you're coming, I know what you're looking for, and it usually works pretty slick. So that's probably about all I have on this. I'm sure I'm forgetting some things. If anybody has any questions, feel free to let me know in the comments. I can talk about anything I might have missed. Like I said, you just, wherever you're at, there's probably somebody near you selling local lumber. So instead of supporting a big box store that the lumber could have come anywhere, could have been imported from overseas, you don't know. But you know, support a local business. Woodworkers, sawyers, they're some of the best people in the world. I've said it before on this channel, I have some of the best customers in the world, and I really appreciate them. Just downright good people to talk to and share some time with. So don't be afraid to reach out to somebody. The worst they can say is, nah, I don't have what you're looking for, or, you know, maybe they can point you to a neighbor who does. You know, it's a strong community, the woodworking community, and, you know, if you're just dipping your toes into it, it's a good place to be. But I just thought I'd give some beginners some tips here on what to look for and how to source wood for their next project. So if you like this, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe, because I have a lot more content just like this that basically shows how the business works. And I'll catch you guys next time. Thanks.